Hey, welcome back to the Survive channel. So we are starting a new project here. It's been a while since we did a build video. And so we're going to be making another 111mm Spydernox. But this time we're going absolutely crazy. We're going to be using the Spyderco Assist. This is the Salt H2. And so the blade is quite large, quite long, very unique blade. If you've not seen this blade from Spyderco before, it's really cool. Basically right here, if you squeeze this down, you'll see that the glass breaker comes out. Right here they have a whistle as well. And so definitely a really cool blade in and of itself. But unfortunately we're going to be taking it apart and just using that blade right there and placing it into basically a skipper knife. So this is the 111mm, this is the skipper. Make sure I get this right. This is the skipper, yeah, it's just the skipper. This one's going to be the Skipper Pro. So I guess we're going to be making the skipper, I don't know, Ultimate. So anyways, let me show you the tools on this because it's also a really cool model that doesn't get much attention. So this one has the original blade, as in like the original shape. It's not one-handed access, but it is half serrated. Does have a liner lock right here. All right, then next up you have the pliers, and below the pliers there's a short Phillips. All right, and then where it gets the name Skipper is it has this large, I don't know, would you call this a large awl maybe? Or I'm not sure what they consider, but anyways, it's really good for like taking apart knots or whatever. All right, and then we'll also be using tools from the Skipper Pro. So we'll be combining the two together. So this one, okay, same thing, can bottle opener here in the front. Then you have a one-handed access blade, also half serrated. So we're going to be keeping this blade along with the Spyderco blade. All right, then next up, you have this behemoth of a tool. It's literally on, what's that, 3 springs right there. So this thing is large, it's a large pick. And so basically, once again, it's meant for like taking apart like knots or whatever else. You know, of course, it's going to be something large, like on a ship when you have like large knots. So anyways, we're going to be combining these two tools together. I'm getting tools from both of them. And then, of course, adding the Spyderco H2 blade from this Assist. And we're using these scales from Meton Boss. And now, these are really cool. These are, what's this material called here? Anyways, it's this black material here. I can't think of the name off the top of my head right now. But what's cool is he's also milled in, as you can see, you got the typical, the pick and the tweezers. But he's also added in the pin slot, which is super cool. Most 111mm Sasami knives do not have the pin. I think there's just one, the Garant, if I remember correctly, is the name of that model. Anyways, it has a pin, I mean, ink pin. And right here you can see he's also done the needle slot. So really, really good scales here from Meton Boss. All right, and we're gonna be placing all of this using some purple G10 for the liners. And so let's dive right into this project and let's see how it turns out. All right, so here's the layout we'll be doing, except we're also gonna be adding some scissors here. We'll take that apart, adding that a bit later on. So what we're working on next is actually getting the knife to fit. So as you can see, it's quite a bit larger. It's a very large Spyderco blade to be adding to this 111 millimeter Swiss Army knife. And so the goal is we're going to try to get this to fit. Yes, up here you guys can see it. Right about like that. So where the tip comes down, we'll kind of make a little section there and then have this down here. So that's kind of the concept right now. But to do that, we're going to have to drill out a new pivot bore right about here. And so I'll start working on that and I'll show you guys how that's turning out and we'll go from there. All right, so we drilled in a new pivot bore right here and used the original blade to make kind of a rough drawing of what we need to grind off. So head back outside and start grinding this off, hopefully get down to the right shape. All right, so finished up with the modifications on this Spyderco blade. And this is probably my most modified blade ever. You can see here, we moved the pivot bore up a bit, did a bunch of changing here to the shape of the blade, as well as this groove right here so that it still works with that liner lock. So we'll have to put this together and see how it's gonna perform. But basically it's gonna sit about like that and the tip is gonna touch the top of that spring right there. All right, and then also I did make the purple liners off camera. Sometimes I wonder if I don't bore you guys with the details when I show you, cutting and grinding into the G10. But anyways, let me know in the comments if you guys like watching me make like the G10 liners and stuff like that. All right, so some of these don't need a liner because the liner locks act as a liner. And also don't forget, we're gonna be adding a pair of scissors here as well. And so we're gonna have one extra liner. That's what this one's gonna be for the scissor layer. And then this one goes up top and that is it. Oh, I went too far out of the camera. All right, so that's basically it. Now we just need to take apart a knife with scissors and we'll begin assembly. All right, so we've added the scissor layer. You see right here, also kind of rearrange these so it all fits on the screen a bit better. Already have the pins prepared so that we can start assembling. Might end up having to rearrange the order that we have for the tools, simply because of the nail nicks on the scissors and the pliers. It might end up being inaccessible. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to mess around with this, trying to figure this out. You can see right here now, the blade is gonna be in the way of accessing the scissors. We'll mess around with that. Probably do that off camera. So for now, we'll continue on with this. Let's see, next up is... All right, so I rearranged the tools. You can see ended up placing the Spyderco blade and the original Victorinox blade right next to each other, but also I ended up adding another liner lock next to the Victorinox blade, so that locks now as well. All right, let's go outside right now and we'll pin this shut, and then I'll open up each tool and show you them separately and show you how that turned out. All right, and we are done with this knife. Got it all pinned shut, the scales snapped on. But the scales here by Meton Boss are absolutely amazing. These are zirconium. You see it's got kind of the compass pattern, which is very similar to the skipper scales that come originally from Victorinox. So you see you have the pick, and then he's also added the needle slot, which is an extra addition that he's added there. It goes in at a 45-degree angle, which is kind of not what you'd expect. Typically like on a 91 millimeter, it goes in like parallel to the scales, kind of down like this. But really cool that he was able to mill those in. Right in the front, you have the tweezers on this side, kind of typical there. And on the top, you have the pin, which he has added, which is a very rare thing to see in a 111 millimeter. Like I said before, I think it's just like the Grant model has the pin that is added there. Right, same thing here at the big compass in the front. Really good looking scales here. I think they look great next to the purple G10 liners. All right, let's get to the tools. That's what you guys are probably interested in seeing. So the can opener here is basically identical to what you'd find on a 91 millimeter, whereas the bottle opener is quite a bit different. You see the shape of that is different. And then the liner lock, of course, also. So unique there. All right, then the Spyderco Assist H2 blade. I mean, one-handed access. It is quite a large blade here. You can see definitely really unique, very sharp serrations on it. So really cool. Also, of course, as we already mentioned, it's also made this where it's lockable. And you see the action snaps down into place, taps right against that spring just like we want it to. The tip of it right here is intentionally left dull See right there, this part is meant to not be sharp that way. We're not getting any part of the blade that's dull or that snaps shut. So then the original Victorinox blade you can access with your middle finger. Finish it up with your right thumb. It is a handful of a knife, that is for sure. So this is also half serrated. This has the top of the blade is serrated, the bottom is not. Whereas on the Spyderco, it is the opposite. The top is not serrated and the bottom is. So you see there, side by side. Just straight up crazy. Definitely a really fun build. It's gonna close these both at the same time without cutting my hand off. There we go. And perfect. All right, then continue on from there. We have the pliers. Again, very similar to the 91mm, except you can see it has the nail neck here. And also down below it, you have the short Phillips screwdriver. Go ahead and close that down. Next up are the scissors. Probably the most dangerous tool in this knife. All right, and then the thin Phillips screwdriver that goes down below it. Next up is the Marlin spike, which again is only found in the Skipper Pro. See, it's a really big spike here. Again, meant for like picking at like knots or whatever else. Definitely a unique tool, and that also does lock in place. Slide that over. And then the last we have, basically it's kind of like a large awl. Again, you can use for like sewing or for, again, like picking some large knots apart. Right in the back, you have the corkscrew and the awl. Now we did also change out the awl for a 91mm, so it has the sewing eye in it. All right, and that is it for this knife. So let me know what you think about this giant Spyderco blade that we've added. Again, probably one of the most difficult Spyderco mods I've done to date. I think it's just straight up crazy. So let me know what you think about that blade. If that's something you can see you'd enjoy having a knife, or if you think it's maybe a bit too large for you. Anyways, thanks for watching the video. I hope you guys subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.